Lena sat quietly in her small apartment, staring out the window at the street below. It was a beautiful sunny day, but she felt nothing but emptiness inside. She had always dreamed of being a mother, of having a family of her own. But that dream had been shattered just a few months ago, when the doctor gave her the devastating news that she could never have children. She tried to convince herself that it was just a small bump in the road, that somehow she could still be happy, but deep down, she knew it was more than that. It was a crushing blow, one that left her feeling lost and unsure of what to do next. No matter how hard she tried, the thought of never having children of her own seemed to haunt her every moment. Her friends and family tried to comfort her, but it only made her feel more alone. They didn't really understand the pain she was going through. One morning, Lena decided she couldn't stay in the city any longer. She packed her things and moved to a small town, hoping that a change of scenery would help her heal. The town was peaceful, with wide-open fields and quiet streets. It was the kind of place where people still knew each other's names and waved when they passed by. There was something comforting about it, and for the first time in months, Lena felt a little lighter. In the town, Lena started working as a schoolteacher. She loved being around children, watching them learn and grow, but it was hard to be reminded of what she could never have. Every day, she put on a brave face, teaching her students and helping them with their work. But inside, it felt like a constant struggle. She couldn't help but wonder if she would ever feel whole again. One day, after school, Lena went to a local cafe to grab a cup of coffee. It was a small, cozy place where the locals gathered to chat and catch up on the latest news. Lena had only been there a few times, but she liked the calm atmosphere. As she entered, she noticed a man sitting by the window, reading a newspaper. He was tall, with broad shoulders, dressed in worn jeans and a plaid shirt. His face looked weathered, like someone who had spent a lot of time outdoors. He seemed to be in his early 40s, but there was a certain kindness in his eyes that made Lena curious about him. She ordered her coffee and sat at a small table near the window. She tried to focus on her thoughts, but every time she looked up, she found herself glancing at the man. He wasn't like the people she was used to seeing in the city. There was something calm and grounded about him. He wasn't rushing around or trying to impress anyone. He simply seemed content in his own world. After a few minutes, the man looked up from his newspaper and caught her eye. He smiled politely, and for some reason, Lena felt a little embarrassed, like she had been caught staring. She quickly looked down at her coffee, hoping he wouldn't think she was rude. But then, to her surprise, he got up from his chair and walked over to her table. "Mind if I join you?" he asked in a deep, calm voice. Lena was taken aback. She wasn't used to people approaching her in such a direct way, but there was something about him that made her feel safe, so she nodded. "Sure," she replied softly, gesturing to the empty seat across from her. The man sat down and introduced himself. "I'm Tom," he said, offering her a warm handshake. "I don't think I've seen you around here before. Are you new to town?" Lena smiled, still feeling a little shy. "Yes. I just moved here a few weeks ago. My name is Lena." 9. They exchanged small talk for a while, talking about the weather and how peaceful the town was compared to the city. Tom seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say. But then, the conversation shifted, and Lena found herself opening up about her struggles. "I'm a teacher," she said, her voice becoming quieter. "I love working with kids. But sometimes it's hard. I've always wanted children of my own, but I can't have any. The doctors told me it's impossible." 2. Tom listened without interrupting, his face serious but kind. There was no pity in his eyes, just a quiet understanding. "I'm sorry to hear that," he said gently. "I can't imagine what you're going through." Lena looked down at her coffee cup, feeling the weight of her words. It was hard to talk about, but it also felt like a relief to finally say it out loud. She had kept her pain bottled up for so long, pretending like everything was fine when it really wasn't. I don't know what to do with myself, she continued, her voice barely above a whisper. I feel lost. Like I don't fit in anywhere. Tom was silent for a moment, as if he was thinking carefully about what to say next. Finally, he spoke, his tone calm and measured. Well, he began, I can't promise you that things will get easier right away, but I know what it's like to feel alone. Sometimes, you just need to find a place where you belong. Lena looked up at him, surprised by his words. There was something comforting about his presence, something that made her feel like she wasn't so alone after all. I know a lot about hard work, Tom said with a small smile. I run a ranch out on the outskirts of town. It's just me out there, most of the time, taking care of the land and the animals. But I could use some help. Maybe you'd want to come out and lend a hand sometime. It's a lot of work, but it might give you a chance to get away from all the noise of the city. Lena was taken aback. She had never thought about working on a ranch before, but something about Tom's offer intrigued her. She wasn't sure if she was ready to dive into something so different, but there was a warmth in his invitation that made her feel like it might be the right thing to do. Thank you, she said slowly. That's very kind of you to offer. I'll think about it. Tom nodded, as if he understood. They continued to talk for a while longer, discussing everything from the weather to their favorite books. By the time they finished their coffee, Lena felt lighter, like a small weight had been lifted off her shoulders. It wasn't that her pain had disappeared, but for the first time in a long time, she felt like there might be a way forward. As Lena walked back to her apartment later that day, she couldn't help but think about Tom's offer. It seemed like such a strange idea, working on a ranch, surrounded by animals and wide open spaces, but the more she thought about it, the more it felt like something she needed to do. Maybe it wouldn't solve all her problems, but it was a start. And right now, that was all she needed. Little did she know, this chance encounter would set her on a path that would change her life in ways she could never have imagined. The weeks that followed Lena's conversation with Tom were filled with both uncertainty and curiosity. She couldn't stop thinking about the offer he had made about coming out to his ranch and helping him. It seemed like such a strange thing to consider, but something about it felt right. Maybe it was because Tom had seemed so genuine, or perhaps it was because she was desperate to escape the emptiness she had been feeling. One Saturday morning, after much thought, Lena decided to take him up on his offer. She put on a pair of old jeans and a comfortable shirt, grabbed her keys, and headed out toward the outskirts of town. The drive was peaceful, with tall trees lining the road and the air feeling fresh and crisp. As she got closer to Tom's ranch, she could see the wide open fields stretching out before her, with the distant mountains providing a breathtaking backdrop. It was a scene unlike anything she had ever experienced. When she arrived, Tom was standing outside, leaning against the wooden fence, watching over a herd of cattle. He waved at her when he saw her car approach, a smile on his face that seemed to say, "I'm glad you came." "Hey there, Lena," he greeted her warmly. Lena smiled, feeling a little nervous but also excited. Tom chuckled. "Well, there's always something to do around here. Today, we've got to fix that fence over by the north pasture. And after that, we can take care of the horses. I'll show you the ropes. Creeding. Wergedig. Absolute. Creeding. I will see the samthas. Absolute P." As they walked together toward the pasture, Tom explained the basics of ranch life, how to handle the animals, how to make sure the land stayed in good shape. He was patient and kind, never rushing her, always willing to answer her questions. Lena was surprised by how much she was enjoying it. The work was hard, yes, but there was something peaceful about being outside, surrounded by the land. It felt like she was reconnecting with something real. As the days went by, Lena found herself coming back to the ranch more and more. At first, it was just to help out, but soon, it became something much more. She began to look forward to her time there, to the quiet mornings and the work that needed doing. The more she spent time with Tom, the more she realized that he wasn't just offering her a way to escape. He was offering her a chance to become part of something, to belong again. One afternoon, as Lena was helping Tom feed the horses, he turned to her with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he said, "you've been a big help around here. It's not easy running this place on your own. I know you didn't come here to stay. But I can't help but think, you've got a good heart, Lena, and you care about these animals. I think you'd make a great part of this family." Lena felt a rush of emotion. She had never considered the idea of staying on the ranch permanently. She had always thought of herself as someone who would move on, who would eventually heal and find a new direction in life. But Tom's words made her stop and think, could she really be a part of this life? Could she truly make a home here? "I never imagined this kind of life for myself," Lena admitted. "But something about being here feels right. I don't know what the future holds, but I like it here." Tom smiled, his eyes softening with a mix of understanding and hope. "Well, you're welcome to stay as long as you need. You're part of the team now." The days turned into weeks, and slowly, Lena started to feel a deep sense of connection to the ranch. It wasn't just about the animals or the land. It was about Tom and his quiet, steady presence. He didn't push her to talk about her past, but when she did open up, he listened with a patience that was rare. He never judged her, never made her feel as though she had to be something she wasn't. It was that calm acceptance that made her feel safe. One afternoon, as Lena was working in the garden, Tom came out to find her, holding a small piece of paper in his hand. He handed it to her with a smile. "I found this while I was cleaning out the barn," he said. "It's a letter from my kids. They're coming to visit this weekend. I thought you'd like to know." Lena took the letter, surprised by the mention of Tom's children. She had heard him talk about them before, but she had never met them. His kids, from his late wife, lived in another part of the country and hadn't visited the ranch in a while. "Do you think they'll like me?" Lena asked, feeling suddenly nervous. Tom chuckled. "They'll love you. They're good kids. But don't worry too much. Just be yourself." When the weekend came, Lena found herself standing in the driveway, watching as two young adults got out of a car. They were a boy and a girl, both in their 22s, with the same warm brown eyes as Tom. They were taller than she expected, with friendly smiles that immediately put her at ease. "Hi, you must be Lena," the girl said, walking up to her with an outstretched hand. "I'm Emma, and this is my brother, Jack." Lena shook their hands, feeling a bit shy but also excited to meet them. They spent the rest of the afternoon talking and getting to know each other. Emma and Jack were both easy to talk to, and Lena was surprised by how much they seemed to like her. They joked and laughed as they helped Tom with some of the chores around the ranch. By the end of the day, Lena realized that she had never felt so comfortable with anyone in a long time. There was something about the way Tom's children accepted her, how they included her as if she had always been a part of their lives. For the first time in a long time, Lena felt like she wasn't alone anymore. The weekend passed quickly, and as Tom's kids prepared to leave, Emma gave Lena a hug. "It was really great getting to know you," Emma said. "I'm glad Dad has someone like you around." Lena's heart swelled with warmth. She didn't realize how much she had longed for that kind of acceptance, for a place where she truly belonged. Tom's children had made her feel like she was a part of something much bigger than herself, and it was a feeling she hadn't known in years. As they left, Tom turned to Lena with a thoughtful look in his eyes. "They really liked you," he said quietly. "I'm glad." Lena smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over her. She had come to the ranch searching for a way to heal, and while she wasn't sure what the future held, she knew one thing for sure: she had found a new family here. And for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was exactly where she was meant to be. In the days that followed, Lena's bond with Tom and his children grew stronger. It wasn't always easy. There were challenges, both big and small. But they faced them together, working side by side. With each passing day, Lena became more and more a part of their world. And as she did, she started to realize that maybe, just maybe, this life she had stumbled into was the one she had been searching for all along.